Hi everyone, this is a short tutorial video to accompany Franny Gade's predictive keyboard instructions. That tutorial is pretty comprehensive, but we thought there might be a couple of things that you might run into technical difficulties with. We're going to go pretty quickly on this, so you should have at this point already read through the instructions for the assignment, and then also made sure that you've read through completely Franny Gade's Creating a Predictive Keyboard tutorial. And so you should have created a Kaggle account. I'm already signed in here, so this is assuming you've already created an account and signed in. And we're just going to run through it doing the wine dataset reviews that Franny already created for the tutorial. So what you want to do is open up datasets, and a significant amount of time for you on this will be finding an appropriate data set. Remember, you want something that's going to have a lot of text that will make sense to input into a predictive keyboard, so you don't want things with a lot of numbers or images, but really things with longer amounts of text instead of just categories or lists. So looking through, finding an appropriate data set, testing it out, cleaning it up will end up being what you spend a lot of time on in this. For right now though, I'm going to just find the wine review set that she used. It's this one. And beyond making sure that the file that you're looking at is a CSV and that you're using is a CSV, you also want to spend some time before deciding on data sets, looking first of all at what the set has in terms of contents, in terms of the text that we're talking about. How many, if you want to go under overview, how many individual lists of items there are, and also where it came from. This is something that you'd want to address in your synthesis and reflection about where the data came from, since that's what's also shaping the output of the predictive keyboard. And here's some information about the columns within the set itself. So what you'll do is click on download. It'll save itself as a zip file. It'll unzip when it's downloaded. And here what you can see is the original file, which is very large, 53 megabytes, and then here's the unzipped folder. If you open that up, you'll see a few different ones. This one's slightly smaller, the CSV with the first 150,000 reviews, but as you can see, it's still pretty large, 50 megabytes. So we're going to need to edit that down, open it up in Excel. You could ignore this file, this one was already edited. So I'll close it so you don't get distracted. Here's the actual original file. If you open this up, what you can see are a whole series of columns. This description column is the one that we want. This actually has the individual reviews. And to get rid of the columns that we don't want, what you'll do is select them by clicking on the header, in this case D, right? And you'll see a little arrow. When you click on it, it'll select the entire row, the entire column. Then you right click and hit delete. And you're going to do this for all the columns that you don't want. So in this case, it's going to be D through K or so. And this will make the entire review text, since it's not wrapped, push up across the end of the window. Don't worry about that, that should be happening. A and B you delete similarly. And then you'll also notice that the first row, row 1 here, has things like description. You don't want that in there either. In your own data, there will probably be a lot more column headers, so you shouldn't be using this wine review one as yours, although you're welcome to try it as part of the tutorial. So delete that header, and now what you should have is a huge number of rows of different reviews. To tell how many are in here, what you can do is click the top left-hand cell. This is A1 here, and on a Mac you'd hit Command, and on a Windows Control. You hit Command and then the down key. And what it'll do is take you to the very bottom row to tell you how many there are. You'll see here there's 150,930 reviews. And so if we save this, you'll see that it's still very, very large and we have to cut it down more. So if you go File, Save As, you want to save it as a text file, not a CSV and not an Excel file. You can use any of the .txts. I'd recommend you use this tab delimited text. So we save this. It'll ask us to rename it here, or If there are other things, you might lose some details. I think it'll say something like that, and that's okay. So we'll just call this _1. Change that to a text file. See if it'll allow us to save it. It'll say you lose some features, that's fine. And when it saves, this is the file here, you'll still see it's very large, it's 36 megabytes. Instead, let's try pulling, say, the first 3,000 rows or so out of the 150,000. We want to get it to slightly less than a megabyte. In order to do that, go ahead and go back up to the very top of the spreadsheet. In this case, you can again just push Command up key. It might take a second. Here you are in A1 again. And again, we want to just select the first 3,000 or so. You can select more than this if it turns out that you have the space. What I'm going to do is click on this name box here in the top left of Excel, to the left of the actual description of what's in the cell. And I'm going to type in a 3,000. It should take me down to the 3,000th row. And it does. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just select these first 3,000 and paste them into a new document. This is faster than trying to delete the other, say, 147,000 reviews. So what I want to do here is leave the cell where it's selected on 3,000, but now I'm just going to drag all the way up to the top of the document using the bar on the right. Don't use anything on the keyboard because otherwise it'll unselect that cell. Now what I'm going to do before I click on anything is I'm going to hold the Shift key, then I'm going to click on A1, and this should select the first 3,000 rows. Okay, now I'm going to copy them by clicking on Edit, Copy, and then I'm going to create a new document in Excel by clicking File, New. Here I have a new blank document. I'm going to click Edit, Paste. I'm going to confirm by hitting Command down that all 3,000 pasted. They did. Now I'm going to save this as another text file. File, save. Remember, don't save it as an Excel file, just text down here. And this one I'm going to call wine test. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to say OK, and now I'm going to check the size. Here we've gotten down under a megabyte, 774, that's good. For you, you might want to play around with it a bit more. We could probably get in 3,500 or 4,000. You want to keep it to a little bit less than a megabyte. Now that I have this text file, I'm going to go back to that Botnik app. The link is in the Predictive Keyboard assignment and on Franny Gates' tutorial. And I'm going to click this little hamburger menu in the top left. I'm going to click Browse to upload my own custom voice. Choose that wine test file, and then click Upload. It'll take a minute. It'll take much longer, of course, for larger files. And when it's done, I'm going to pause it until it's done. Okay, that took about 10 seconds, and now it is uploaded. And what you'll see is something like this. The name of the text file will be here under the source. And you'll have this black text box and the grid underneath. And this is where you'll start typing with your Predictive Keyboard. So you can either type with the keyboard like the space and then wine space is, or you can select from the grid, produced for, etc. And so what you want to do to remember to put into your Canvas assignment, here's your unique URL, so make sure you copy and paste that and keep track of it. You won't be able to edit it once you've done it, so you'll need to create a new one if you change your original data set. And then remember to also, once you've finished creating longer, more interesting outputs, to copy and paste the 5 that you think best show off the potential of your code, along with your synthesis and reflection. Hope this helped.